the amazing news. Give yourself the small wins, the things you know you can win. These small changes then manifest into larger changes. Hey guys, most of you know I started Book Hub. It is on Discord. Feel free to join. I'll put the link to join below. It costs nothing. It's free, you know, other than you just have to go to the library or buy the book. We are doing Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. We are starting actually today, but again, feel free to jump in. You can read ahead and get what you can out of this. I was rereading chapter 1 last night and had some just major insights and breakthroughs, and I wanted to share them before they fade, because then I can come back and watch this video, but also others can get what they can get out of it too. Chapter 1 is stand up straight with your shoulders back. From a physical therapy point of view, that makes so much sense, because when we hunch over, it is actually physically bad for us, not only pain, but for our organs. Over time, the vertebrae in our back actually shift forward and you get kyphotic posture. And the problem with that is, as the spine shifts forward, one, your head gets heavier, it's what happens faster. It's a positive feedback loop. But also your ribs kind of turn in and you can't actually expand your lungs as much. Your organs start getting cramped. And I know everybody's seen the people, usually geriatric, where they're literally like this. And then they get pneumonia and then go to the hospital and then die sooner. So from that point perspective, yes, it makes complete sense. But the book goes a different route and it's really enlightening. Initially, what the book talks about is, this is kind of just like the whole scope of the chapter 1, is about crustaceans, about lobsters, and their hierarchical structure. Nature has hierarchical structures, even if we don't see it or are aware of it. We have it in society. It's usually boiled down to like a socioeconomic status. So where your status in society is based on how much income or influence or whatever. It's a bit more than that, and even if you hold steady like income and things like that, we still have hierarchies in hierarchies. The best way to explain it is lobsters want the most ideal place to live, easy food, safe, and they will defend their territory if another like male lobster comes into the area. And the reason this is important is they have to figure out who's going to stay and who's going to go. And it behooves them to not go from level 0 to level 10, because at level 10 they both get injured because they're physically fighting. So they have kind of steps, things like wiggling their antennas. I think they do like antenna whipping first, and then maybe one of them backs off, and if that doesn't work, then they kind of go up higher and higher until they get to the physical component, which doesn't happen too often. And the reason Jordan Peterson uses this is because this is an ancient part of even our brains, and we don't even realize it's creating a hierarchical structure in our head of where we sit in this invisible structure that we don't see and maybe don't even think about. It's really, really important, because it has helped me understand why I do the things I do, and also my perspective and outlook on things. But the best part about it is knowing you can change it. That even if you're at the bottom of the rung, that you have the ability to change this. And not only does it change your socioeconomic hierarchy, but it changes you in a positive way. He talks a little bit more about crustaceans and some in-depth stuff. It's actually very interesting, surprisingly, learning about lobsters. The big point about it is learning about positive feedback loops. And we all have heard and know what they are, kind of. If you have someone talking in a microphone and a speaker picks up the microphone, it causes this constant feedback that gets louder and louder and louder and louder, and it's like ear piercing. That's a positive feedback loop. That is what happens when lobsters win or lose in their battles. Lobsters, when they win, their serotonin levels go up. When they lose, their serotonin levels go down. Funny note, I take Prozac. He just makes the comment that universal happiness drug Prozac, you give it to lobsters and it makes them happier. Not that I'm suggesting taking Prozac, because I actually would like to get off of it. This is applicable to humans. Think about when you've done something, you have succeeded. We feel lighter, happier, more motivated. We want to stretch further, succeed more. But at the same time, if you fail at something, we get down in the dumps. We want to do less. We stop believing in ourselves. And that positive feedback loop can go to the positive in a good way or go to the negative. And this is just was mind-blowing for me, is realizing that ancient part of my brain that is constantly assessing where I stand in the hierarchical structure, driving what I'm doing and how I'm thinking in my outlook. And what I mean by that, so it says, maybe you're a loser, and maybe you're not. But if you are, you don't have to continue in that mode. Maybe you just have a bad habit. Maybe you're even just a collection of bad habits. Nonetheless, even if you came by your poor posture honestly, even if you were unpopular or bullied at home or in grade school, it's not necessarily appropriate now. Circumstances change. If you slump around with the same bearing that characterizes a defeated lobster, people will assign you a lower status. The old counter that you share with the crustaceans, sitting at the very base of your brain, will assign you a low dominance number, so low hierarchy score. Then your brain will not produce as much serotonin. This will make you less happy, more anxious and sad, more likely to back down when you should stand up for yourself. It will also decrease the possibility that you will get to live in a good neighborhood, have access to highest quality resources, and obtain a healthy, desirable mate. It will render you more likely to abuse cocaine and alcohol as you live for the present in a world full of uncertain futures. It will increase your susceptibility to heart disease, cancer, and dementia. All in all, it's just not good. When I read that, it just blew my mind. Instead of saying cocaine and alcohol, I can easily insert sugar, carbs. It'll render you more likely to abuse food as you live in the present in a world full of uncertain futures. I have anxiety. I haven't had anxiety my whole life. And I blamed XYZ for it. But if I really think about it, the fatter I got, the lower I thought of myself on this hierarchy scale. And part of it comes from this number just isn't randomly generated in our head. And obviously, when I say number, that's just abstract. It just is what it is. And it's how the world treats us. People treat us bad. That's why we care about what people think, is that part of our brain tells us how we should act within society. This is also why, as people get heavier, they tend to be more withdrawn, more isolated, more depressed, more of all the bad stuff. And society treats people who are overweight as less than. I mean, this is a sidebar, but the irony is when people do that, I've come to realize it actually has nothing to do with me. It's all about the other person's insecurities they're trying to hide by pointing out someone else's flaws. But let me tell you, if you do that, it doesn't work. I can still see that ugliness that you're hiding. But what's so friggin' powerful about this is the simplistic way to say it is the more bad things happen, the more bad things you think are going to happen, the more anxious you get. So in your mind, nothing good's ever going to happen. So you don't take actions as if anything good is going to happen. And then nothing good happens because you didn't take the actions to make the good happen. And it's just this positive feedback loop that gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's the same way for weight. You're overweight and feel bad. Society treats you bad. You think you're bad and worthless. So then you eat the food because it makes you feel better. You get fatter, society treats you worse, and it's just this downward spiral into oblivion. And when I realized that, I'm like, how powerful is knowing that? Knowing that we agree to this subconsciously in our mind of where we're at. Our choices, our physicalness follows this too, right? Not only are we overweight and we care obviously less about ourselves because, well, society says we're not worth anything. So then obviously we aren't worth anything. And then we have slumped posture and we stop taking care of ourselves, and it just gets worse over time. But knowing that, let me read this other little part about it. Standing up physically also implies and invokes and demands standing up metaphysically. Standing up means voluntarily accepting the burden of being. Your nervous system responds to an entirely different manner when you face the demands of life voluntarily. You respond to a challenge instead of bracing for a catastrophe. You see the gold of the dragon hordes instead of shrinking in terror from the all too real fact of the dragon. You step forward to take your place in the dominance hierarchy and occupy your territory, manifesting your willingness to defend, expand, and transform it. That can all occur practically or symbolically as a physical or conceptual restructuring. This is the amazing news. No matter where you are sitting in this hierarchy, all you have to do to start improving it is stand up tall with your shoulders back. You can make the wins. And I was thinking about this last night. Okay, what can you do beyond and past standing up with your shoulders back? Well, if losing means you're more likely to lose in the future, then why not win to make it more likely you'll win in the future? Give yourself the small wins, the things you know you can win. It does not matter how small you start. Mine is I've walked 3 days with Ryu. I haven't walked 3 days and years, honestly. That sounds crazy, but so my win is I'm going all of October walking the dog every single day. How hard is that? How proud does that make me that every single day that I do it, it's just another win I can guarantee to give myself? Or today, I'm going to have steak. I'm not going to have anything bad. I can give myself that win, and each win adds up. It becomes multiplicative. It just probably exponentially, honestly, at some point, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till then these small changes then manifest into larger changes. And then, who knows what a year from now is going to look like. And I thought this was such a powerful thing to understand. And it also helps me understand why I go to food and why I use it. I learned the habits as a kid. I saw my mom, she'd eat a pound of candy and she was like a size 4. And I just don't have that metabolism. So that's where I learned this specific habit from versus alcohol or drugs. But because I see myself so low in the hierarchy, this dominance hierarchy, because way people treat me and then the way I treat myself, it just has fed and fed and fed and fed into this terrible spiral of how I got where I got. I know there are people out there watching probably wondering, how in the hell did you get 360 pounds? And the answer is slowly, one step at a time, in the wrong direction, because I thought I was worthless. And one day my eyes opened and then I'm like, holy crap, how did I get here? And that's how it is. But again, the friggin' amazing news about this is if it takes one step at a time to get here, then it takes one step at a time to get over here. So again, for like the 5th time, read the book. Join us book club. You don't even have to talk if you don't want to. If you just want to listen to us talk about it. I get nothing out of doing the book club, just so you know, like literally. Well, I don't mean it like that, but I get no like affiliation, no nothing. What I do get is being able to listen to other people's ideas and the way they think about things, and can get stuff for myself out of this. Sorry, I'm getting all animated. It's making me cough. And so that's why I'm really encouraging to join this. It's honestly a life-changing book. So I think what I will do is, at least the chapters that I have epiphanies on, I want to share with you guys. So I'll kind of maybe do like a little series going over this book because it's fantastic. Anyhow, I love you guys and appreciate you. I hope you get something magnificent out of this video and everything else that we do. And anyways, always, every video, a dog has to be drinking. Slurp, slurp, slurp. This is just gonna be like a theme of all my videos, is dogs have to drink while I'm recording. Rosie. Anyways, thanks guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye.